really excited because today we get to be with Robert Woodson. And Robert is an American civil rights activist, former director of the National Urban League, American Enterprise Institute, and then he founded the Woodson Center in 1981 and has worked to bring recognition, training, and funding to community-based leaders and organizations and to strengthen their efforts and to uplift their neighborhoods and to create venues for exchange of best practices. And you're also an accomplished author and speaker. So, Robert, thank you so much. It's an honor and privilege to have you here today.
I'm just flattered to be here.
Well, you okay if we just jump right on in?
No.
All right, we're going to do that. So for us at Master's Apprentice, we're a private organization, and there's many other private organizations trying to do the same thing all across the country. But what do you see as our collective responsibility to those who are in need?
Well, first of all, we need people who are local, who can. We spend so much time looking at what's wrong with communities, looking at deficits and what's failing. But no one comes into these communities to look at what's possible.
Wow.
And so what we do at the Woodson Center is we look for Josephs. That's the foundation of what we do. Joseph, as you know, was from a dysfunctional Hebrew family.
Yeah, in the Bible.
Sold into slavery.
Right.
But one thing about Joseph, he never despaired. He never became bitter, nor did he lose his faith in God.
Right.
And then he was rewarded. And so we look for that Joseph spirit in local leaders who understand that faith is central to reformation and transformation.
Okay. So say more about that. Why would you say faith is central? There's a lot of people doing a lot of good, but what difference do you think faith makes in the work that we get to do?
You know, people make the mistake of generalizing about poor people or white people. You can't generalize about them. There are three categories of poor people. There are people who are just broke.
Okay.
If you give them a job or training, they will go on. Their character is fine. Then you got others who are disabled in some way. We need help. And then the third category that I think and you all address, are the people who are poor because of the values and habits that are self-destructive. For them, just giving them a job isn't enough. They have to be redeemed before opportunity can be used properly.
Wow.
And so what impressed me about what you all do here is you understand that a person has to be prepared mentally and spiritually to receive God's blessings.
Wow.
And so you work on soft skills.
Yes, we do.
And attitudes and behaviors. And values are not taught, it's caught. And so what you must do is model what you think you want someone to do.
Yeah.
Then they'll follow. And that's what I find unique about what your approach is to.
And well, thank you for that. And, you talked about values and behavior. One of the things that we encounter all the time at Master's Apprentice is people coming in with difficult mindsets that hold them back. So we just had a graduation on Wednesday. 56 students graduated. Probably about half of them said, man, I'm so thankful for the Master's Apprentice because now I understand I'm not defined by my past story, my past mistakes, and there's some kind of transformation that seems to happen that shifts mindset. Say more about, do you encounter people who really struggle with a past mindset, overcoming failure, that's their story, maybe almost like a victim mindset?
They really do. And I think that what troubles me is when people patronize people. Well, you're not responsible. It's racism. It's the victimizer might have knocked you down, but the victim has to get up.
Come on.
And so if you really respect people, you will help them to become agents of their own uplift. And which means you have to impose discipline on them.
Oh, so say more about that, impose discipline.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel sorry for anybody. When I meet someone, I have the highest expectations of them. I respect their ability to recover, and that becomes an expectation. I've had gang members living in my house.
Wow.
Because of course, you have to model what you want them to do. But the very fact that I invited him in my house, and I'm not crazy, nor would I expose myself, but I do know that he had the capacity to respond in the way he did.
Wow.
And I've never been disappointed by any of these young people that we reach out to.
Wow. You you used the phrase, I think it was agent of your own uplift. Where did that originate from? Where did that come from?
It's just something that I thought about what it takes for self-uplift of people. That we have so many messages going to our young people. You live in a country that hates you.
Right.
You're either a victim or a victimizer. After a while, we shouldn't be surprised when they keep being bombarded with messages that they are not in control of their own destiny, that somehow their fate is determined by somebody else. Nothing is more insidious, nothing is more destructive to someone than to say your destiny is determined by someone outside of you.
Yeah.
So it takes your capacity to develop yourself away from you. And so I believe that programs and approaches that are effective takes that other positive message you said, you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whoever has a coach that says, this other team beat us before, they're better equipped, they're better coached, go out there and try not to get killed.
Oh my goodness. One of the things that we talk about at the Master's Apprentice that's so powerful about our organization is we have over 50 volunteer coaches, men and women, who are really coming from a whole different phase or area, socioeconomic area of life, and intersecting really with our students. And it's just this really beautiful intersection. And I know you talk about this, but when you encounter people at the intersection of true brokenness at the Woodson Center, what have you discovered that they're really looking for? When they're at the intersection of true brokenness, what are people looking for there?
People are motivated by victories that are possible, not injuries to be avoided.
Wow. Say that again.
That people are motivated to change and improve when you show them victories that are possible.
Wow.
Not by injuries to be avoided. I met with a group of mentors, some women, and they were coming in to mentor some high school girls. And he said, we got to go home and change. Why? Well, I got to put my genes. No, you identify with where people want to be, not where they are. So I want you to go and mentor them dressed the way you come to work.
I love that.
Because even pimps don't drive hoopties.
That's a good point.
So you have to think. And so when I tell these mentors, you should mimic what they want. You should address their aspirations. So the girls came in, where'd you get those earrings and that dress and how'd you hook up this and all? And I said, you respect them when you come with the highest expectations of them. And the way you present yourself to them creates expectations in them.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. The individuals that come to us at Master's Apprentice, we discover they're really lacking in understanding of accountability, specifically around accountability, not just over their actions and their choices, but accountability over their future and their hopes and their dreams. And so what's your belief about accountability and how that connects to change for people?
I'm really passionate among the young men that I mentor about accountability.
Okay.
I said to them when we negotiated a gang truce, I said, I don't smoke, drink, or cuss around you. Don't you smoke, drink, and cuss around me. So you got to be very intentional when you approach people about what your values are. I don't apologize. I say to them, these are the values that I subscribe to. And if you and I are going to be in relationship, this is what I expect from you.
Wow. Wow.
And they're not used to people loving them enough to confront them with discipline.
Yeah, that makes, I love how you said that, loving them enough. Because that's what real love looks like, doesn't it?
Real love is. You know, and also I say to people that you get something out of it too. My son died 20 some years ago by an accident, and it was just tore me apart. But at the service, 18 of these young gang members that we turned around came to the church, and they just spontaneously came around me and my family. And their message, without saying anything, is, you have 18 sons, not just that one over there. So when I tell you I do this, it isn't out of charity. They feed into me. the mentors are gaining something from it as well.
Wow.
Nothing speaks to respect between someone when you permit them to give back. See, reciprocity is a process of respect. If you constantly put someone in a situation where they're receiving all the time, they will sometimes disrespect not only the gift, but the gift giver.
Right. Right.
That's why part of our process of helping is to expect them to help someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. The gift of reciprocity.
Gift of
Wonderful,
reciprocity.
man. That's amazing. You know, one of the things that struck me as I was just learning more about you and your dynamic life, you know, you've got, I think it's 10 values. You know, there's trust and different ones, but there's one that stood out to me. It was really unique. I don't know if you're going to guess which one it was, but it was witness.
Yes.
Witness. Like, what? Talk to me about why is that one of the values that the Woodson Center yourself stands for? What does that mean?
Well, first of all, I think that witness is more powerful than an advocate.
Say more on that.
I mean, the very fact that I had been counseling these young men that when they come out of that gang life and one of their friends get killed, don't get a gun and go back to retaliate. You've got to be there at the funeral because to hug them when they leave that funeral, otherwise they're going to go retaliate. So you witness to people by being available to them when they need you.
Wow.
Not just counseling them, but to be there and hug them and say, we're not going down there.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that. Get it out your mind. But it's just being available to people, man.
Yeah.
When it's inconvenient for you.
Right. Man, we've been talking a lot about just the power of presence, how that shifts things, right? You know, one of the things that we were realizing as we were dealing with students at Master's Apprentice, they've just never had that significant person in their life that's present. And so we're seeing change on a small scale. But a lot of people here in America believe, you know, America's going downhill and, man, this is the worst. And you know all the negativity that's out there. What would your message be to people? Would it be the same message or would it be different about where we're at?
I think the way you communicate values is through your actions, not teaching people. That values are caught, not necessarily taught. And so I say to people that we've got to be available to people to demonstrate to them that America, that if we want to support the values of the nation, and I do, and it's called pietas, it's Latin for patriotism, love of God, love of country, and love of neighbor. And those are things that have to be demonstrated in a place. So if values are communicated by your actions, you demonstrate that by following, conforming to these values, you develop habits that enables you to flourish.
Gotcha.
But you got to link it to action.
Yeah.
I'm an action oriented.
Yes.
My politics is radical pragmatism, and I'm a cardiac Christian.
Cardiac Christian.
Cardiac
I've never heard that one before. I love that.
Because Christ is in my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen to that.
Before I'm a Baptist or anything else, I'm a cardiac Christian.
Gotcha. At the Master's Apprentice, you know, I've been here for 2 years, and we really, really do see lives just transformed in 6 weeks. And we talk all the time that we're a bridge to the trades and the career, but really we're a bridge to change lives. But how would you say the work that we get to do in the trades, putting young people, underserved community into the trades, changing lives, how does that intersect with the work that you get to do?
Because you're a model for restoration and redemption in action. Also, these young people are meeting a need of the nation.
Yes.
Because we are supposed to build in the next 2 decades 9 warships. And they are going to need skilled craftsmen to do that.
Right.
So this is even important to the national defense
Wow.
of the nation.
Wow.
So that's why I'm interested. But also, we're really blessed that we have investors who have confidence in us. One of them is Jim Brown and his family, who was the investor into the Joseph Fund that we're raising. That enabled us to present you today with the check
Yes.
that will help you. But so we think that but you are a model for what the country should be about. That's the other thing, the qualification of the Joseph Fund. Is it a model that can be copied by others? And you have proven results, specific outcomes that are measurable.
Right.
So that's fine. It's a no-brainer for us.
For us
We
too.
wouldn't be any other place.
For us too.